They're indoors, just go to mass. They're outdoors in the middle rain, they can hit and miss. Yeah, but I'm asking them to go to new stuff and new shoes. Yeah. So actually, it means the best part, isn't it? Like in the future, so they'll be pop up in somebody's inbox back about 30 seconds. Yeah. And the rest of the quarter. Yeah.
So you're still on my hold. I'm actually getting off on my phone everything today. So I'm going to get the microphone first.
They're using the 3G.
Afternoon. 15 minutes flip, then 2 players. Patrick?
Martin, should we start with an update on the squad? Any concerns, any bumps or bruises?
He came off in his final game, I think, for Everton, and but he's getting better. He just hasn't been able to do it yet at this minute, although he's had some scans and they've proved negative, which is good. And Kieran Clark is just still just not completely right, but is improving.
Is the situation with James becoming more of a concern? It feels like something a few times with him where he's been close. It has taken a while to actually get fit.
Yeah, but he's got a little bit of time, and I think that he's been an important part of the team over the last 2 years. So we would give him that time as well too. So I'm sure he would like to participate in one of the 2 games at some stage or another, but we've got a few days yet.
Any more thoughts on when you'll decide definitely the 23? Because I think we thought it was going to be the Saturday, and then maybe you said it might be after Belarus now.
Well, we've got the Belarus game, and I think that those, if there were, as I think there are, a couple of places still to be decided upon, I think that's an opportunity for the players to have played in one of the 2 games, to stake a claim.
Have you decided the balance of your squad? Like 5 strikers, 8 defenders?
Yeah, pretty well close, pretty well close.
Okay, what are the remaining issues for you? Not necessarily personnel, but areas.
Well, I think that we've got some fullbacks. We've got cover in a number of positions. We've got the 4 centre backs here with us at the moment. I've got a couple of very decent players on standby as well at the moment as well. So if anything happens in these 2 games, and there's every possibility that something might do, at least I think I've got a reasonable cover Obviously, there's a couple of players who haven't played an awful lot in centre midfield, and that might be an area where we would be certainly having a look and maybe waiting until the second game.
Do you like the idea of having 5 strikers or attackers? Because obviously that will then affect how many midfielders you can take.
I wouldn't. We've got. Well, are you talking about centre forwards as such?
Well, yeah, 5. So I mean, Long, Keane, Walters.
Yeah,
but then
I'm not so sure how.
One or two places to go.
Yeah, again, we may have to take one out of that. We've got some width in the side as well too. So, yeah, we'll have a look.
Martin, just on McCarthy, would you consider not playing him in either game, just in case?
I think that I know what James is like. James does, he likes to play and he likes to. I think that psychologically he would feel better if he was, but if he didn't do and felt pretty decent about it, then I think that's a situation I would certainly have to consider.
When will you find out for sure whether or not he's...
Well, I think he's making... Alan, my doctor's telling me that he's making good progress. James himself is feeling not so bad. I think it's just one of those things where you just want to be right rather than just rushing him back. And when we come in on Sunday evening, he wasn't feeling too bad. He just wanted to get another scan to make sure. Things are from this side. You're looking reasonably okay, but I would like him to be right for the games.
Would you rule him or Kieran out of the Dutch game at all, Martin?
They may not play. Yeah, they may not play in the game. Again, I think that both in normal circumstances would like to get some training done before you step into the game. If they haven't, we've got tomorrow. If they haven't trained by tomorrow, then I'm more or less likely not to put them in for that game.
Mark?
James, that goal he scored, I think, took some people by surprise at the end of the season for Everton. Is it something you'd like to see more from him with Ireland, or are those positions you don't want him to be getting into?
Oh, I would like him to get into those positions, of course. His role might change during the course of time here with Ireland, as it may do at club level. And I think that he started off really when Glenn was holding for us, that he was starting in a more advanced position. I'm not so sure that is exactly how he plays at Everton. But if he can get experience of playing both and becomes accomplished in both positions, then I think it's another string to your bow, for want of better words, really. If you're a midfield player, and you're not essentially the holding midfield player, I think then getting a few assists and a few goals, I think only can enhance your reputation. And I think that's something that James is capable of doing.
Martin, we'll hear from Harry Archer shortly, but will he start on Friday? And what does he need to do?
I haven't decided yet on the team, but Harry will definitely play in one of the 2 games. Yeah.
Can you reveal anyone? If anyone will start, who can you reveal? If anyone who will start on Friday?
No, I can't. I can't tell you. It's not me being bad-hearted. I just I haven't told the players yet. So I think I would rather they heard it from me rather than reading about it. Mostly, Sometimes it doesn't matter.
Martin, you spoke earlier in the week about players having sort of psychological issues after the season they've had. Even though players are, fit on paper, have you noticed anything about watching the players in action, whether some players look jaded or mentally?
I think that is something that you have to look at very carefully. I think we've done some training there. We did a little game there today. We involved everybody, which has ended up being a 12-a-side for about half an hour. And yeah, you do start to form some impressions of players. But I think just looking at, if you're talking, for instance, Robbie Brady being disappointed, with a move to Norwich and then end up in relegation, I don't think it's something that you get over within 15 minutes of the end of the last game. I think it's a gradual process, but he's got something to look forward to here. I think this is great. Rather than spending all summer just being on a downer, he's got something to look forward to, as Wes Hoolahan has. So that in itself, I think that you just have to put the disappointment to the side at club level and think of what you've done for the national side and go on and take on the competition with confidence. And I think that's what that's part of my job, but certainly it's in their own makeup as well.
Martin, you've obviously experienced a major tournament yourself as a player. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you'll take from that to bring into this tournament as a manager?
Well, naturally it was a great competition for us, but so long ago that I was nearly going to say I forget about it. I don't. I probably think about it every night. That's not true. But I was Billy Bingham at the time gave me the captaincy of the side during the lead up to the qualifications, and then in there, and I thought it was a great honour, and you felt a certain responsibility for the players, how they looked after themselves during the course of the competition, and naturally how you played. But the ultimate responsibility, I suppose, falls on the manager, and that is something that will be a bit different to being the captain of the team. So looking forward to it immensely. Are there things that I could pick up? I'm sure during the course of the competition, or while we're out there, it'll probably just come back to me and think about how we dealt with a few situations. And yeah, I think during the course of time, I think I'm surely be able to remember it and pick up a few things.
Obviously, not everybody that's here can go to France. Is the worst thing about being an international manager having to tell what you're going to have to do in the next couple of days, having to tell those guys who aren't going to make the trip?
Well, it is for this reason alone. I think that the players, at club level, it's a pretty frequent event. You're on a Friday, you're telling a group of players that you're not going to be involved, possibility of being involved the next week if that's the case. And because you're dealing with players, you know that you will meet them if you've done something on a Friday, left them by the train station or something like this here, not heading down to a game. You'll see them on a Monday, regardless of the mood. But these players here at international level give up their time and energy, want to be involved, have been involved, and it's certainly, it wouldn't be for the money, it's really for the glory. So yeah, that will be, regardless, a few decisions to make, whether it's at the weekend or whether it's actually we wait until the last couple of hours after the Belarus game. There will be disappointment, and it certainly wouldn't be easy for that reason, because these are international players who want to play for their country.
Do you know how you do it, Martin? How you tell people?
If there's one or two that are bigger than me, I may well write to them.
Shane Long had a bit of a knock to his knee, we were told yesterday. He was out running today.
He was out running today. Yes, he's got a little cut on the knee, and he said it's all right. They had a couple of stitches in it, and I think one of them just opened up, but and the doctor just wanted to clean it up. I think no, he's trained today. He's fine.
Why do you think this season has gone so well for Shane Long?
Well, my own view is the second half of the season, Shane will say, that has been terrific. Listen, Shane's had to, he's knuckled down. He's got some competition at Southampton for places, and I think that's been pretty healthy for him in that sense. Naturally, I think if you want to trace it back, I think the goal against Germany in October was a massive boost. It is something pretty special when you score the winning goal against the world champions, and I think you would walk back to the club on a natural high. And I know it was before Christmas, but he's taken hold of his game. Obviously, got a bit of confidence from somewhere, and he's trying to play like a centre forward would play. I'm naturally delighted for him, because it will give us an extra boost.
Martin. Two more, please.
Martin, 4 years ago, Trapattoni took James McLean to Poland with very little experience at this level. Is there scope for players within your squad who haven't played very often still to get on that plane?
Well, there are one or two places still at this minute that have been undecided, and that is true. Then I would take the training into consideration. And they've been undecided for a number of reasons, but one of them being that some of the players that I'm thinking about here might have not had that much game time in recent times. You're talking about Harry Arter not having done that. You're talking about Darren Gibson not got a couple of games, but essentially over a long period of time, not that long. So you're looking at Ewan O'Kane being another one. So really, it's this little these training sessions and the matches that ultimately will make my mind up about things. As for James going there with relatively little experience, I think that James is a more mature player now. He's definitely part of the squad. He'll definitely be going with us. He's been terrific for us, and I'm hoping that he will behave himself. Because if he's not on the side, I don't want him to throw a tantrum. Might have to send him home.
Final question.
Martin, is the identity of your opponent on Friday and Tuesday irrelevant? Sorry, I'm over here.
Sorry.
Is it irrelevant, or with everything focused on that Swedish game, or have you looked at Belarus and the Netherlands at all in terms of what they'll bring to these games?
Well, I would have a fair idea about the Dutch. Yeah, I think it'll be a really good test for us. I do think that we should turn our attention to this game for a start, and I think that Belarus. I think they're playing Northern Ireland anyway, so I'll get a chance to have a look at that as well too. Yeah, we'll definitely have some attention to these games, but I think really it's to do with the build-up to the matches, and we'll come through the games. You'd like to go into the games and come out of them a little, with confidence still intact. You wouldn't want to go and get absolutely mauled in the games and think, you want to be going there reasonably okay. I know, but sorry, but that's my view. Although I remember Northern Ireland. This I do remember in 1982 that our last game I think was against Wales in the home internationals, and they gave us a hiding. So, and then we go to Spain and did really well.
Thank you.
Martin, just quickly about
Non-Ireland one for you. Celtic's new manager.
Mm-hmm.
The most exciting appointment, certainly according to some fans, since Martin O'Neill.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of it?
It would not be as exciting as my appointment, but really good appointment. And we had a little joke here the other day. I was saying because they'd mentioned here about Roy Keane being a good fit. But I think Brendan, it's a great job, and I think he'll do splendidly. And I do genuinely think it's a really great appointment for Celtic.
Martin, quickly just about the players who haven't arrived yet, in particular the outfield players, Myler and Kevin Doyle. Are they in danger of you haven't already made up your mind by the time they arrive to camp?
No, Myler again is one of those players who's has done well for me. He went in and played fullback for me in the game in Germany, and he threw his body in front of everything. So now I know time goes on like everything else, and he hasn't had that much football. He's had the hamstring problem. I see Steve Bruce brought him on in a game when he felt as if he maybe just needed to shore things up, or try and refocus on the game, which looked as if it might be going away from them against Derby. So Myler's been a good part of this. He's terrific round about the place. I wouldn't have excluded him at this minute. So let's see how he gets on in the game. And there's every possibility that I would bring Kevin back. He plays at the weekend. He wasn't going to start on Friday in the game. And then he would get another match then at the weekend for his club, and then come and play on Tuesday. That's the idea of it, And even if I have to make decisions then on Tuesday evening, I will do so.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Right, man. Okay, guys, Harry Arkin and Stephen Quinn.
Harry, I was first going to ask you about that warm-up exercise you were doing at the start of training to turning, going to cones. Did you understand it? Because it looked like you went the wrong way quite a bit.
Well, the thing is, that it was the guy was standing at the front, so it was difficult for the lads to hear at the back, and the accent was getting lost in the wind, so I didn't hear too much.
How big a week is it for both of you?
I think it's a big week for the whole squad. There's obviously a group of lads that are almost certainties to be in the squad, and there's a group of players which everyone have their opinion on who aren't. So for everyone, it's a big week, and everyone's looking forward to it.
I think Martin said in the past, maybe he knows 90% of his squad. Do you both feel like you may be in that 10% where you've got a bit to do to make his mind up to be in the 23?
I personally do, yeah. So quite an experience at this level, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge. I've worked hard to get to where I am today, and I'm looking forward to trying to get in the squad.
Stephen, big week for you then?
Yeah, man, reiterate what Harry said, it's for the whole squad really, but like you said, 90% will probably know they're going, and it's like probably me and Harry in the 10%, and we'll just come here, work hard and do our stuff, and hopefully do enough to get on the plane.
Tell us about this journey then, Harry, and what it would mean to you to make the 23 from Charlton, dropping down, Conference South. What would it then mean to go from there back to being an international footballer?
Regardless of the journey, to go to Euros would be a dream come true for any player who has never experienced it. The journey is just part of my story really. For every player in this squad to not have been to a tournament like this and to go would be certainly a dream come true. I'll look back and reflect maybe when I'm a little bit older if I do go, and my story may seem a little bit more better in a sense, but for everyone I'm sure it would just be brilliant.
And what about this season? Professionally, you've proven yourself a Premier League player, you've had a great year. Personally, you've been through stuff you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. But how do you sum it all up?
I wouldn't want to really put them in the same sort of category professionally. I would rather keep that differently to my personal life. I couldn't even really compare them in any sort of way. I've tried to stay professional throughout. Lucky for me, I'm passionate about football. I've had something to focus my mind on. Let alone, what happens. Some people, unfortunately, it takes over their life. As I said there, lucky for me, there's something I've been able to focus on. And I want to try and just continue it.
Does it give you a sense of perspective? I mean, it's obviously a massive deal trying to get in the 23, but you realise there are bigger things, more important things?
Unfortunately, yeah, it does. Before that, this would have been, the beyond deal for me. If I didn't get in the squad, I probably would have been devastated. But I certainly know the word, what devastation means now. It's a completely different meaning to me. If I did miss out, it'd be a disappointment. Certainly not devastation.
On the flip side of that, do you find yourself wanting to achieve things, striving for your daughter, basically?
Yeah, of course. I want to try and do her proud. I want to try and make my family proud. Still pretty raw in the sense of it's only been just over 5 months. I don't mind talking about her, but of course I want to do her proud. In my eyes, in my family's eyes, she was here for 9 months. She was with us for 9 months, and I'm proud to say she was my daughter, and I want to try and do her proud if she's watching.
Harry, do you Bournemouth weren't really given much of a chance to stay in the Premier League before you came up, but now that you have, just seems to be a really good sort of team spirit within that squad. Would you draw any parallels with Bournemouth and the Irish squad you're involved with now?
Yeah, a lot of people wrote Bournemouth off at the start of the season and didn't consider them to stay up. But we worked really hard as a team. The team spirit, I would say, was probably the biggest factor in us staying up. Even the manager made some big signings. The team that ended the season really was the lads that got us promoted. So I say there's the team spirit in the Irish camp is pretty much the same. The lads have been so welcoming to me from the first day I've been in the squad. You've only got to look at Leicester, how much a team ethic and team spirit, how far it can get you. So we should all use that for confidence.
What do you think, because of your injury struggles over the year, what do you think you need to show Martin over the next few days to try and get a place in that squad?
He's just try and do what I do for Bournemouth really. The reason he's put me in the squad is because the times he's come to watch me, he's obviously been impressed. If I tried to do anything different, I'm sure it'd go against me. So I'm just going to try and do what I do.
Stephen, you mentioned you feel you're probably in the 10% as opposed to the 90%. Have you noticed any difference in training for the guys in the 10% and the guys in the 90%?
Not really, to be honest. No matter what, each camp we meet up, everyone gives 100%. So it's just been the same pretty much this week, And there's not only us trying to looking to get into the squad and make the playing. There's players playing for places over in France. So the level of quality and training and the work rate is there for everyone to see, really.
Obviously, you give 100% every training session, but do you really feel this week that you have to be absolutely on it all the time?
I think so, really. Being in that 10%, like you say, I think we have to show the manager and try and catch his eye, really. But it's the manager's decision at the end of the day. It's in his hands. So we can only do our stuff like Harry said, and hope that that's enough.
Harry, how important is Friday's game for yourself, considering you missed the friendlies in March?
Yeah, if I'm playing, that is, I've got no indication whether I'm even going to play. And I think regardless to them games in March, Friday is a massive chance for anyone who's not guaranteed. Fortunately for me, I missed out in March. I'd have liked to have been involved and try to give myself even more of a chance of going, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. So I've just got to try and do what I can if I get any time.
And Stephen, for yourself, it's a quite competitive area in midfield to get a place in the final 23. Where do you see yourself in the pecking order?
I don't know really, to be honest. But I played in the Switzerland game in March and thought I did okay. Obviously, didn't get on the ball as much as I'd liked it, but we got a decent result against them. Ever since I've come in the squad, I've played some minutes under the manager, which is always nice. So I'm hoping I've caught his eye when I played in games at Reading as well. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
Steve, do you feel like it's maybe the most competitive area?
Yeah, most definitely. I think because of the numbers, obviously, in there. The likes of Harry, then there's Dave Moyler, who's not even here this week because he's on playoff duty. So, yeah, I mean, there's lots of midfielders. So I'm sure a large chunk of the 10% that we left out will be midfielders. So, we're all battling against each other, I suppose, but it's what kind of formations the manager's thinking of, or what have you. So, I suppose it's in our hands if we get a chance in the games to prove ourselves, and then it's out of our hands then next week when the manager maybe picks the squad.
Does it almost come down to individual battles? Do you find yourself maybe looking at guys like Harry and think, got to get ahead of you?
I don't know. It's I suppose what the manager prefers in players and what way he wants to go about it in France. But obviously we'll probably be battling against each other. It's it's the talking point of the week really. But like Harry says, we just got to go out and do our stuff and do what we do at our clubs and catch the manager's eye. And if that's enough, then well and good. If not, obviously he's got difficult decisions to make, and I understand that. So we'll see.
12 aside today, wasn't it? Any big tackles?
No,
Not really, no.
Not really.
Might do it tomorrow to a few.
Harry, you mentioned Leicester there. What did you make of their season, and do you think the Euros could present its Leicester?
I think what everyone made of them, really, it was unbelievable. In all honesty, I don't personally think something like that would happen again in football. Such a almost like a miracle, really. I think what you can look at is that they have been successful for a reason. You can try and break it down that way, and try and use it as a yardstick in a sense of team spirit can make you successful. As I say, I don't think it's going to be something that's going to make you successful in the sense of winning the league again. But it can definitely take you to a certain level, and then obviously you've got to try and improve and add quality to that.
Stephen, you came up against Shane Duffy in the last game of the season in Blackburn. Just interested to know what it's like. I know obviously different area of the field to yourself, but what's he like to play against him?
Well, he's a big man. I know that. I wasn't marking him at corners. I can tell you that. Yeah, he's a big presence. I mean, he's had a good season, a real good season at Blackburn. Not only is he a danger and a threat in the air and set pieces, but he's actually got good feet as well. So, you know, he'll be in the manager's mind as well this week. And obviously he scored. I think he scored in the last games, didn't he? So, so yeah, he's a massive danger, and I think he'll have a great chance of making the squad.
Stephen, you're just days away now from potentially a place at the Euros. What's your own memories of watching Ireland play at major tournaments growing up?
Yeah, it's amazing, and then just speaking to Robbie and Shay about it, you know, and they're telling us about the excitement built around it when you get there and touch down and playing against some of these teams. It's something special. So, you know, I'd be you know, amazed and looking forward to it if I do make the plane. You know, it's something you play on the streets for when you're younger, and watching the games and watching these greats of Ireland and the rest of the world. So it would be a dream come true to go and play in a tournament like that.
Is there a moment that stands out sitting in front of the television at home watching?
No, there's lots of moments in Irish history, so I couldn't pick one, but you know, I'd like to be part of something special in France and be a part of a great history.
Steve, you've been part of a lot of squads, you know, in terms of just being together for a few days and stuff. Do you notice a different type of atmosphere this week? And do you think, say, let's say the 90% are looking for the manager to name the squad sooner rather than later, so that almost the real atmosphere can kick in, so to speak?
Yeah, I suppose there has been a different atmosphere, but there was more of a focused atmosphere, so to speak, because you know we're not long off the tournament. So, like I said before, there's lads vying for places in that 90% or whatever for starting places, and then there's lads that in that 10% that want to make the squad, and not only make the squad. You know, if me and Harry make the squad or whatever, we would like to play in games. You know, we're not going over there to make the numbers up or whatever. So I want to actually play in the tournament. I don't want to just try and hang off the wing of the plane and in the squad. You know, I want to play in these tournaments. So, I mean, everyone's focused and getting ready for it. You know, we're all getting our minds and, you know, getting our bodies right for the first game. Yeah. All right, let's.